Sloabies Nation, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another DIY. But today I wanted to share with you guys my DIY. I posted it on Instagram and so many of you guys were like excited about it, and I've been talking about this for the past weeks. I went on Instagram and I was seeing a lot of these all over Instagram and I was just like, these are so cute, and I clicked on the link and I noticed that they are cute, but they come with a very hefty price, a price that mama did not want to pay. I intuitively knew that this was going to be easy. It was a tube, you stuff it with plushie and then you braid it. Doesn't seem like it's that hard, right? Turns out anything that you build, when you scale it up, the infrastructure is going to be a little bit more challenging than expected. So in this video, I'm going to throw in a couple of tips on how to make life easier as far as making this thing. It really is just cutting out strips, folding it in half, sewing and stuffing and braiding. Alrighty, Roo, let's go ahead and grab our scissors and our stuff and let's get started. Alright, to start out, you're going to need a really long piece of fabric. I am using flannel here, but I think fleece will work just fine. So the width for this would be about 5 inches, and that's what I'm doing here. I'm just measuring out 5 inches. I make a nice little snip, and then I just rip into the fabric, and it'll create a nice straight long cut for me without actually having to mark it out. This is the reason why I chose to work with flannel, because it is a woven and I can tear like this and it'll just be easy peasy for me. If you're working with fleece, you actually have to measure it out because it's more of a knit, and since it's a knit, it doesn't tear like this. Since we are braiding, you will need 3 long pieces, and so I have them in 3 piles like so. So I just take one strip and then I fold it in half and I sew it all the way across lengthwise. This seems very tedious, but trust me, this is actually the easy part. I do want to throw out a really quick tip. Before you do so, I highly suggest that you pin it all the way down. What happens is that when you're sewing, the feeder at the bottom of your sewing machine will tend to pull on the bottom half a little bit more. So what happens is your tube will end up twisting. You want it to be as flat as possible, so just go ahead and pin it all the way through and then sew. And now you flip it inside out. Now for me, this is 255 inches of tubing that I have to reverse. So it's not going to be fun, I'm giving you a heads up. But if you just work on it while you're watching TV or something, I guess it'll go by pretty quick. Alright, now it's time for the polyfilling. Now polyfilling is really expensive, so you just go ahead and buy like a cheap pillow from Wal-Mart or something and you use that for filling instead. And what I do is I just tear little sections out and then I stuff it into the tube, and I use like a long knitting needle to push the filling through. However, I realized that pushing filling through 255 inches of tubing is really tedious and annoying, so I figured out another way to do this. So we're gonna go ahead and cut to the mini version. So I made a smaller scale of the tubing just to show you guys how to do this. So what I do is I just sew one end of the tubing, and then I'm going to use some paintbrushes and some pens and pencils as my knitting needle as the example here. So the goal here is to reverse the tube and also to stuff it at the same time. So you do it all in one shot. So basically you take your knitting needle and then you push the end through. And then once you get in a little bit, go ahead and take some of the filling and stuff the tube. Now since you've only reversed about 1 inch or 2, you can only stuff 1 inch or 2 at a time. So go ahead and start pushing at the end again so that more will be revealed so that you can stuff a little bit more, if that makes sense. So basically every single time you push on the knitting needle, it's going to reverse the tube a little bit, but it will also reveal about 1 or 2 inches of tubing for you to stuff it. So this one obviously is kind of small, and I did it this way so that you can see the full effect of it, but when you do it on your larger one, it's going to take a little bit more time. Just imagine doing it on a much larger scale. So here I'm still trying to reverse the tube and I'm still stuffing as I go, and we're getting to the end here. I don't know if this makes any sense to you guys. I hope you guys can kind of understand what I'm trying to say, but I pushed the end through the opening of the tubing already, and now we're completely almost reversed this whole thing while it's being stuffed. I really hope I explained that clearly because it is a little bit confusing. But I was able to get all 3 of them stuffed and done while I was watching TV. So back to the actual thing, basically you're gonna have 3 long tubes that are stuffed and it looks like this. So you're gonna lay them side by side and sew all the way across. Make sure you backstitch a couple of times so that it stays secured. So this is what it looks like, and now you're just going to braid it like you're braiding your hair. Just make sure that you're not braiding too tightly. You want to keep it a little bit loose. And I don't know if you guys can tell, I'm like extra proud of myself on this project because I did not think it was gonna work. Another quick note, this will tangle as you are braiding because it's very long, just like if you were braiding long hair. So at a good stopping point, I just tied an elastic there to hold its place. And then I just went ahead and detangled the strands as best as I can before I start back up again. I'm not gonna lie, it's super rewarding to get to the end of the braiding process, but once I get to the end, I go ahead and I place all of these strands together and I sew as best as I can, and I make sure to backstitch a couple times to secure it. Okay, now you're gonna take both ends and you're gonna place them on top of each other. And what I do, since it's really hard to sew through all of this stuffing, what I do is I went ahead and just took some string and I tied them both together. I know what you're thinking, you're like, wait, it's going to look really shaggy at the end. I want it to have a clean finish. Well, there's a way to hide that. I'm gonna hide it by making a bow. If you haven't seen one of my basics tutorials on how to make bows, make sure to check that out. I went ahead and just made a giant bow out of the extra fleece fabric. So essentially on the bow, you're going to have the middle part of the bow, and this is what that piece is going to be, and I'm gonna use it to attach to the bumper. So I go ahead and I take that piece and I slip it through to cover up the little knots that I have tied here, and I'm just gonna sew across to secure. And then you basically just flip it inside out while it's still on the bumper, if that makes sense. So just watch what I'm doing, just like that. And basically you can go ahead and hide all of the messiness through that little piece right there. Now you can stop right here, or you can go ahead and just slip through the bigger piece of the bow parts into that same little ring. So here I'm going to go ahead and slip the little bow through that ring here because I want the bow to stick out on the corner of her crib because I think that'll be really cute. Now to anchor the 4 corners of the bumper down, what you're going to do is you're going to need some straps, and what I did here was I cut out some fabric from the leftover flannel and I fold them in half. These are about 1.5 inches wide, and I just sew across. Next, I have this really handy dandy reverser stick thingy. I will link it down below for you guys because it's really helpful, and I pretty much just pull it all through and then I have just nice little straps. What I'm doing is I'm taking these little straps that I made here and I'm just anchoring it at each of these corners here, and this one's going to be the last one that goes there. So what do you guys think of the project? It doesn't look too hard, right? It's just time consuming and it's a little confusing if you do the second method. But if you decide to go the traditional route, just know that it's gonna take a while to stuff the tube. It took me about 1.5 movies, but I enjoyed the whole process. But overall though, you guys, I'm super pleased with the project. I'm super happy on how it turned out. It's just really, really adorable in her crib. And I'm really happy that I was able to make this for her. Actually, in the future, I do wanna make the bow a lot bigger, especially when she starts moving into her own room. Pretty soon I'm gonna be doing a lot more DIY home decor crafts and stuff because I'm pretty much building her nursery from one DIY project to the next. It's gonna be something that mommy gives to her because she has everything. Like between both grandparents, like she just is very spoiled. And so for her nursery, I wanna be able to build and DIY as many things as I can, as I hope to. And I'll share those projects online with you guys as well. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this DIY. Keep in mind that it doesn't have to be a baby bumper. or you can use it to make a decorative braided pillow or whatnot. So just be creative with it. Just think outside of the realm of baby. If you guys are gonna try out this tutorial, be sure to tag me. I would love to see your projects. It really makes me happy, and it makes me know that these DIYs are not just going to waste. Otherwise, if it is going to waste, then I don't want to make them anymore, you guys. It's very time consuming, to be honest. Like, I just want to make the stuff and then just not have to edit the video. Editing is so boring, okay, you guys? Like, don't judge me. It's probably like the worst part of YouTube. If anyone wants to edit my videos, like, let me know, because editing does take a time and a half. Scratch the little complaining there. But honestly, you guys, thank you so much for watching my channel. Every single view counts to me. It really warms my heart that you guys are still sticking around and watching my DIY projects, even though it has changed tremendously. If you guys want to catch me on Facebook or Instagram, Gertie and I are on there pretty often. And I will catch you guys later. Remember to always rock on, Sloabies. I will see you next week, and have a great weekend. Bye! Hey Sloabie Nation, welcome back to my channel, and today I have something really exciting I want to try. It is the Cybex Sirona M convertible car seat. Cybex took note of Gertie Bear, and they asked me if I wanted to do an unboxing and review on their car seat. Because as you guys know, when I did my must-haves, I was choosing a lot of mid-range items. This is a little bit on the higher range, but it has a bunch of cool technology that's attached to it, and you guys